Hello again. Today we're going to make a festive table decoration with materials I've actually salvaged from my community spaces. And what we do today will cost you a maximum of about £3, because as I've said, the foliage that I'm actually going to use in the decoration I've actually taken from my local community areas, parks, car parks, supermarket car parks, those sorts of areas. That's where I've actually taken it from, and as long as you take sustainably and sensibly, there isn't really a problem with you doing that. So what you will need to carry out the process is you'll need a floristry foam tray, you'll need some floristry foam, and you will need a candle, a festive candle, and a festive candle holder, and some floristry wire, and that's about it really, plus a vital piece of equipment, a pair of secateurs. Now you need to soak your floristry foam, and the way to soak this is to put this into an empty container and pour water onto it gradually. If you try to put this into a container that's already full of water, this is full of air when you actually buy it, and it just floats to the surface and doesn't become saturated. So you need to pop it into an empty container first and then pour water over the top, and effectively that will then saturate. And you can see that this is actually full of water, which is what we need it to be. Now we pop that into our tray like that, and then we put our candle into our candle holder and push it down really well, and then we pop that roughly in the centre of the actual floristry foam, and now we've got our basis for making our festive table decoration. Now the sorts of things I've salvaged, look, are good old-fashioned holly, so with some with berries on if you can get them. I've got some conifer, and I've got some big bristlecone pine. I've got some choisya, which is lovely in yellow. We've got some viburnum, some brachyglottis, used to be called senecio. I've got some euonymus as well, variegated foliage, and some lovely ivy look, as well as some more viburnum. And over on this side, I've got some lovely pyracantha berries and some beautiful viburnum bodnantense dawn flowers, which are going to smell absolutely gorgeous once you get them inside. Plus in my bucket, I've got bright red stems of Cornus alba sibirica. So let's start to make it, and let's get on with it. And first of all, we start with the bottom layer, which is the conifer layer. And when you're selecting conifers, folks, out and about, then effectively you want nice flat conifers. And what we do is we wrap the wire around the stems and just feed that into the actual floristry foam right at the very base. So we just pop that in like that, and we take another piece, and once again, let's show you again, you're just wrapping it around the stem, look. And then I tend to do quarters to begin with, so I do front, side, back, and the other side. And what a great thing to be doing on a day like today. You know, it's quite chilly out here, and reminds you of the festive season to come, and effectively all those good times that we remember. And you can see that we're already starting to build up quite a decent layer of material as we work round. Now as we do work into it, just move this across a little bit, pop that in the bottom there. We're now going to pop some other little bits in the corners. So we're going to carry on with conifers, and again wire them up, just wire them through. And I always find this you know, really soul searching and cathartic, because while you're doing this you're going to produce something that's going to look stunning and fabulous, but also you know, at the end of the day you're producing something that's really going to make a difference to you and your family, because it's great. And what about making one of these as a Christmas present or something like that, just a general present to somebody that you really love? It's wonderful, isn't it? So we're nearly there, look, and you know, in a couple of minutes or so, we've nearly got the bottom layer done and dusted. And in there, folks. And then once we've done that, we're going to move on to what's called the structure layer. So we're going to give it a lot of structure, and that's where the holly comes in, because that's our structure plant, where we pop it in, and it gives us lots of structure in the actual display itself. So I'm just searching through. Do choose the best pieces of conifer if you've got them, and instantly you can see that our display is starting to take on a new form. And push the stems in as well if you can do. I mean, the wires are there to guide, but do push the stems into the foam, because foam is full of water, and that will help keep your conifer turgid. Now, holly. I need to cut some of these stems down, look, but this is the structure plant that I was talking about. And again, we just basically pop the right wire around the base. It's exactly the same pattern, but we're actually leading this in now, and we're just going to start popping this in the sides and the actual top of the display itself. There's another lovely piece, look. And again, it's just working with what you've got and leading things in. And you know, the birds remind you that you're out and about in nature if you're doing this outside. Wonderful bird song in the garden today, and we're quite privileged to have quite a range of birds where I live. But you know, wherever you live, you're going to have bird life, I'm pretty sure. So we're actually getting to grips now with pulling this together, look. I'm popping a really nice display full of red berries in place for you. Now, if you get a flat stem like this, look folks, you can still use it. You just literally pop the wire around the base and make sure it folds downwards and leads in, and again it starts to cover your cantaloupe, look. And there you go, you're starting to really pull it together now. Now I'm just going to put another little few bits and pieces in there, and I'm not going to use a wire on this one. I'm just going to pop it in the side and just push it in, so that we start to cover. The idea is that you cover as much of the foam as possible as you possibly can. And again, we'll just take that stem down and literally pop it into the corners. And you can see straight away that actually what we're doing here is we're building up quite a decent display of holly, and a really bulky, lovely display. Now, once we've got to that stage, looks totally different already, doesn't it? We can start to embellish it with some bits and some pieces. So let's drop some euonymus in there. Let's have a little few stems of euonymus in there. And again, we just wire this up because this stem is quite brittle, look. So we can just pop that in there. And again, trying to hide the foam itself. That's the main idea, really. We'll have a little bit more euonymus, look. Again, we're just looping around. Look, it's a simple technique. Thank you very much. They're obviously very excited, aren't they, about me making one of these decorations for you guys. And again, just pop it in. Okay, and then we'll try some Senecio and start to really load it full of colour and texture and those sorts of things. So yes, we've got our base layers, we've got the conifer, we've got the holly, but now look, as we start to put these different colours into it, really starts to come to life, doesn't it? drop a little bit of that down there. Pop that in. And then just a little bit more, I think, around the far side. And now, good old ivy, the holly and the ivy comes into play, because now we've got some sharp textures on the actual display. These leaves will actually soften things down, and again we're just going to drop one or two of these in place and just bend that wire around, look, and just pop perhaps a flower there if we can feed it in so it's in place. And there it is, look, and we'll do another one for you guys. And because these are evergreens, they tend to retain the moisture in the leaves really, really well, and they tend to retain their colour as long as the room isn't too warm. Okay, then effectively what you'll have is a display that will last longer than the festive season. Actually, I've known people actually phone me up and tell me that they've still got their display well outside the festive season. Yeah, we just do that. And we're coming towards the end of this really, because you can see it's really well embellished now. Just drop one in front there for you. Okay, now we'll pop a little bit of pyracantha in there for you. I'm not going to use all of this stem, so we'll chop that a little bit in half, and again add a wire to it, and just put some orange berries in there, and perhaps just look one little pack. Look, be careful with the thorns with pyracantha. It's called fire thorn, so it is quite thorny, and you can see one there, look, so do be careful. You might want to wear gloves actually when you pop them in, and then just feed that sort of lower down into the display if you like. Look at that, that is just absolutely glorious, isn't it? Yeah. And we'll use the other one perhaps on this side here. All from, you know, your local community garden spaces, and for £3 this is absolutely wonderful, isn't it? So perhaps we'll just drift that one in there on this side, just link it in there like that, and then finally, as a final touch, and this really reminds me of my mother's perfume, is we'll just drop those in and make sure that they get into the foam look right in the centre of the actual piece. And I was going to use a little bit of red stem, but I think it's a little bit of overkill really. So there you go folks, there is a wonderful festive table decoration from materials that you've salvaged from your local garden spaces. So go on, get out there and have a go and see if you can make a lovely, lovely table decoration like this one. Have fun and happy gardening folks.